So we'll probably lead with this segment this week just because it's coming up this weekend. Matter of fact,
it is this weekend.
Yeah, it's this weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
Matter of fact, I wanted to talk to you, see what you was on one of the nights at least, so we could watch some of it. But WrestleMania is this weekend, man.
Yep.
It's in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
This year.
So they
went back to Vegas pretty quick. They was in Vegas like a couple years ago. I feel.
No, it was I think you're right.
They was there. I think when you was there.
Yep.
Yeah. But what were you gonna say?
No, I think they're trying to go all out, trying to make this the best one yet.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they always do that, just like always trying to one-up each other as far as the WrestleMania presentation.
Especially, I think this is the first one since Vince is officially gone, right?
I think it's the second one. I think
last one was the first one.
But it's definitely the first one where they had like a full build without Vince. Like none of Vince's stories or ideas are kind of like carrying over into it. And they haven't been like scared either to like talk about Vince in the build, like just saying how. I remember they said something. I believe it was Cody Rhodes or CM Punk. I don't remember which one said it, but something along the lines of John Cena was the chosen one, but look who chose him. Yeah. Kind of alluding to Vince McMahon. Like if Vince McMahon chose you, how solid can you be? You know what I'm saying? But you got, speaking of Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, they both in like the main event matches, which. One of them is the Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins match. The other one is the Cody Rhodes and John Cena match.
So Saturday night is a three-way: Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and CM Punk is now rolling with Paul Heyman, who was Roman Reigns' dude.
Yep.
So now there's that conflict. I think that was a good build-up for that. Like everybody, I see. I'm on Reddit and I read like everybody's feedback on these lineups because wrestling. The season restarts at WrestleMania. That's like the championship finals of the season.
Yep.
And then all the storylines reset after that at the next Raw and the next SmackDown, and it resets for the next WrestleMania. So this is important to close out all the storylines they started since the last WrestleMania, and there's been a lot of feedback how it could have been done better. But fans always wish they could have something different. But I've seen a lot of backlash on it.
Yeah. One of the things that I like about this build is just kind of the callback in general of both things. Like, for example, Cody Rhodes was the driver basically for John Cena when he was in WWE. Like, he was the guy that drove Cena around. And
he was?
Yep. He basically, they wrestled with the company together, but Cody Rhodes being the younger guy and just wanting to soak up game from John Cena, he was his driver, asking him questions and stuff like that. And he always talks about everything that he learned from Cena when he drove with him that helped him, like, once he got to this point, or even, like, helped him get to that point. You know what I'm saying? So that's, like, a cool little story where Cena even mentioned it in a promo, like, I'm so good and I did this business so well that my driver is now the top guy. You know what I mean? Like that's how goated he is, that his driver.
So that was why the betrayal was so important.
Yeah, because they actually had like a history, you know what I mean?
That would make sense.
Yeah, it wasn't just John Cena's thing with the fans. It was also his thing with Cody Rhodes. Like, they got that little backstory. Yeah. And the other one that I like is the Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk thing, because they were very much involved as far as the controversy with CM Punk. Him leaving WWE in 2014, talking bad about Vince, talking bad about Triple H, talking bad about the doctors at WWE, talking about how he was stifled and mistreated while he was there. WWE doctors sued him, like, with WWE's backing. They were in court over that. There was a lot of issues they had over the years with CM Punk and WWE. And the fact that Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins debuted in WWE as The Shield with Dean Ambrose. They actually debuted to be basically CM Punk's faction. Like, they were coming in as protection for CM Punk. And CM Punk kind of always had this thing where he said, like, he was the one that really pitched for them to come up to the main roster, and like the Shield was kind of like a creation that he made. Like, he likes to take credit for it. And it's just crazy how Seth Rollins kind of looked at CM Punk like as a big brother in the industry. And then when he left WWE, talked bad about WWE, went to the rival company, it was this beef between all three of them. Like Roman Reigns being the top guy in WWE, obviously he's taking exception to what CM Punk is saying about him and the company. Seth Rollins, same thing, being one of the top guys, taking exception. And also, like, a lot of people didn't like the fact that when CM Punk had his thing with WWE, he pretty much stopped talking to a lot of the wrestlers, a lot of WWE guys, and they took it personal, you know? And those little real details are something that I like about both of these builds, where like when you watching the matches, like I wonder how much they're gonna actually call back to like a lot of these situations and incorporate it into how these things are. Yeah,
because they give a preview of the match, like the history leading up prior to each match. They have a little montage of everything that's happened that led up to it. That could be a place that they integrate that. That's for sure.
Yeah, and then one of the things I found interesting too is Nick Khan was on Bill Simmons' podcast. Nick Khan is like one of the executives at WWE. He was very integral in the Netflix deal. He was very integral in the sale of WWE to TKO. You know what I mean? Like,
and bringing CM Punk back, right?
Yeah, man, bringing CM Punk back. He was talking to Bill Simmons about it, and Bill Simmons was kind of asking him, like, were you apprehensive about dealing with CM Punk after the 10 years of bad blood he had with WWE? He said something real interesting that I didn't expect. He's like, I always heard how hard he was to deal with, but I kind of already knew that he wasn't going to be because my interactions with him were always good. Yeah. And he really felt like the issue with CM Punk in WWE was more with middle management, which Bill Simmons referred to it as the blue shirt and khaki pants guys. You know what I mean? And he mentioned it as far as his situation with ESPN. He's like, yeah, it was the same thing at ESPN. You have a meeting, the blue shirt and khaki pants guys come in, and they just tell you to lead with the Lakers every day. You know what I mean? Like people that are not really tapped in, trying to give ideas and trying to micromanage everything when it's like, bro, that's not what you're here for. You know what I mean? And I thought it was super interesting that he kind of viewed it that way. He said, obviously, you know, some of it was just being younger on everybody's side, you know what I mean? But it's also like when you're dealing with incompetent people in the middle and they're stifling more than helping the situation, and you're very clear about what you're trying to do, he understands, you know what I mean? And like I said, I found that real interesting because so many times when things don't work out, people always have their reasons or their excuses as to why it didn't work out. They point their finger and blame. And it's very rare that somebody's going to come out and say, hey, he had some good points. You know what I mean? All these years later, everybody from WWE side looking at CM Punk as the bad guy. Yeah, when it really the fans are looking at CM Punk as like the good guy / martyr. He comes back when Vince leaves, which Vince is trapped in a whole bunch of legal things. The Vince McMahon doc comes out and kind of shines a light on what a trash person he had been over the years. And it kind of validates him. And he finally comes back and gets his WrestleMania main event, which is like, dog, he would have never imagined that would have happened after all the bad blood with him in the company.
And especially, you know, Triple H is leading it. He understands it. And, you know, this reminds me, actually, Triple H was on Flagrant 2 just this past week. And he got mad insights of stuff that's happened. And one of the ones was that match in New York at the Garden where it was Kevin Owens? No, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, and they broke the kayfabe because
some of them were good guys, some of them were bad guys, and after the match they were all hugging and stuff, and all the fans were mad confused because they never done something like that.
But they said there was such an uproar, and Vince McMahon was actually the one that greenlit it. He told them, they were all sitting there backstage, and he greenlit it, and Shawn Michaels, he's like, all right, just go. And then that next week, he called Triple H into the office. He's like, all the blue collar khaki guys not feeling it. So he's like, you're good with me, but now I have to make an example out of you. And that's when he took him out of the King of the Ring
and Stone Cold
one. But you know, it's kind of it sucks for Triple H, but that was the Stone Cold and Jake the Snake, and that's when he started that number one classic line in wrestling. You got here, John 3:16 everywhere. Austin 3:16 says, I just whooped your ass. So it sucks for Triple H and that what they did to him. And he said, because Vince McMahon told him, you're going to have to eat a plate of shit and enjoy eating it. But that brought us Stone Cold. But yeah, no, getting back to the point where it was like Vince was actually cool with it, but it was all those board people and all those executives.
You get those other guys in your ears, and all of a sudden the situation
he was
changes.
like, I got to make an example out of you now. That's probably the same thing that happened with CM Punk.
That interview, now that you mention it, it even ignited something else with like bringing back a thing about Triple H where they always say that Triple H doesn't elevate black talent on WWE.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And he had a little excerpt from there where he was talking about working with Ahmed Johnson back in the day.
And how difficult it was.
How much he hated working with Ahmed. And people in the comments were basically saying, like, yeah, this must be where your hate for black talent started.
Dirty.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always find this interesting thing from old wrestlers that talk about it is like, for example, like I heard Disco Inferno talking about it. Remember him from WCW, the John Travolta guy?
Yeah.
And he was basically saying like, bro, there's not a lot of people on top in wrestling, period.
Yeah.
So if you only got 3 or 4 black guys on top, there's maybe 3 or 4 white guys on top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not, when you look at the numbers based off that, it's not bad. Because when you look at the percentage of black people in America versus like the percentage of them in certain industries or whatever, like for example, I think the last time I checked, it was like around 13% or something of African Americans in the United States. But what's the percentage of African Americans in the NBA?
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like it's probably the opposite. It's probably 13% white people in the NBA. Same thing with
minority.
Same thing with wrestling. Like it might be like a 30% of black people in the top spots. Yeah. But compared to like the population, like when you actually break down the ratio, it's more than what you would expect. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's something that I always say. Like whenever we talk about race or anything like that, like sometimes you got to look at stuff more statistically, bro. Yeah. If there's more white people than anything, they're gonna push their agenda, bro. Yeah. I mean, that's just how it goes. If you got the numbers, the things that you like is what's gonna get passed.
Yeah. And they got many storylines too. Like they can only do so many storylines where people are following the storyline, and they just try to relate race to it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But look at it now. Like you see the lineup now. It's like it's full of the bloodline, all the Usos, Roman Reigns, Fatu.
That's another thing.
The New Day.
That's another thing that's kind of funny too that I've seen in
Naomi,
wrestling.
Bianca Belair.
That you'll bring up the Samoans, and people will be like, "Oh, they not black though." But they're minorities. White. They're minorities,
they're
bro.
Not white.
Like you try to discount their experience by saying, "Oh, no, but they're not the minority I want them to be."
Nah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, bro,
you got Rey Mysterio, Raquel Rodriguez, Damian Priest. Like
he was just world champion in Puerto Rico.
That's what I'm saying. Dominic. Yeah, and I see it actually. You know, Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre got a street fight, and that's dope because that one he did with Bad Bunny. People are still talking about bringing Bad Bunny back. I think it was.
I think if Bad Bunny didn't have the obligations he did, he would be in WWE more for sure, man.
Yeah. Who was it? Someone just said it that he was like, if Bad Bunny, he's like, I'll take Bad Bunny in my corner any day.
Bruh. Bad Bunny has had some nice matches, man.
Yeah.
Nobody likes Shane McMahon, though. As far as random people in wrestling, bro, Shane McMahon. I seen another compilation the other day that popped up on my TikTok, and it's like, bro, basically saying like, yo, this dude was a Nepo baby.
Oh, yeah.
He ain't even have to.
$1 billion father.
He didn't even have to do this, bro. And it was just a compilation of him taking the most insane jumps I've ever seen in my life, bro. And it's like, dog, like, if people be trying to hate on Shane McMahon, especially like in his later years, it wasn't as good.
I think his persona was corny. Not his actual wrestling, the persona, like that stupid backwards dance he did when he came out in his entrance.
It was corny, but it was funny.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It was funny, bro.
Shane O'Mac jersey.
You remember when he came out with the Mean Street Posse? Yeah. His boys that were supposedly from his neighborhood in Connecticut. Yeah. The dudes would come out in sweater vests. Yo, that was hilarious, bro. Wrestling is so funny, man. Like, yo, it's so funny because Jay Leno talked about this in Comedians in Cars with Jerry Seinfeld. He's like, he always finds it so funny when people say like, they want to talk about the fakeness of things. Like, oh, it wasn't believable or nothing. And speaking of Interstellar, bro, he's like, Well, he's like, you seen Interstellar? Well, get this. Sandra Bullock is not a real astronaut. George Clooney is not an astronaut. Like, it's like, bro, people want to pick and choose what fake stuff is acceptable. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, it's acceptable that we make a space movie talking about, these two actors going to space and doing this crazy stuff, but it doesn't make sense that we just, do these theatrical style fights. You know what I mean? Like,
no, that's what they.
But as we go into WrestleMania, man, who got the best moves at this WrestleMania? Finishers, moveset, you know what I'm saying? Like, just period.
I'm going to tell you right now, because we just touched back on CM Punk, I'm not a fan of CM Punk's finisher.
To go to sleep?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I could take backlash at all, but I don't see, like, he really has to execute it perfectly to land that knee to the face. If not, I don't see that as a knockout move.
I like it from this point of view. Looking at CM Punk, there's not much other stuff that he would do that you would believe that he would take somebody out in a match with.
Right.
Like, if he's kicking you, if he's kneeing you in your head, like, that's the most I can believe. Like,
and you're in midair because
like somebody like Roman Reigns. Yeah. Like, if he's doing something to Roman Reigns, kneeing him in his head is the most believable thing I'm gonna think. Yeah, of him like really knocking Roman Reigns out. Yeah. Like, one of the things about CM Punk I don't like is like his wrestling, which he has been better in WWE this go around. But his first run in WWE and the AEW run, I was not a fan of his wrestling. Bro. Yeah. Like, I always felt like his body never looked. It goes back to the thing that we talked about before. Like, it was like he was kind of like too sloppy and unathletic for me to really watch him and like get into what he was doing. You know what I mean? But this time around in WWE, no coincidence, probably the most money he's ever made, the best positions he's been in, and he's in good shape.
Yeah, he is. He looks good out there. He doesn't look like he's too old to be wrestling.
It's not a coincidence that when you take care of your body the best that you've ever had in your career, that you look the best. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I do agree with you on CM Punk there. Roman, I enjoy his matches, but I'm not a huge fan of the Superman punch. Yeah. It's corny to me. Like, it's like, the whole cocking back your hand, and then you just doing a little leap from the corner and punching. Like, it's like, it would look good in a comic book or something. Yeah. But to me, it's like a little corny. Like, that's a little played out. I love the stomp by Seth Rollins. Yeah, I like the curb stomp when he stomps your head into the mat.
Yeah, that looks like something that one looks dope. Out.
I like the Claymore kick by Drew McIntyre. Yeah. When he just goes from the corner and just, Buddy's almost 7 feet. He's just kicking you in your face. Like, that's a good one. I like the moveset of Jey Uso. He gets a lot of heat. People say he can't wrestle, but I like watching him wrestle. He got swag out there, and it looks believable. He looks like a fighter, you know what I mean?
I like the Damian Priest has his form of the Razor's Edge. Yeah. I like that one. I do like a lot of the girls' finishers. Like, I'm surprised, but like Charlotte Flair has a figure 8. Yeah. What's Liv Morgan's called? I really like
the one off the ropes. Yeah, I don't remember what it was called.
Oblivion. Yeah, I like hers. I like Rhea Ripley's. Like, it's just, it looks like the Riptide. It looks like they're taking them out. Like, something that looks like you're actually going to take your opponent, especially at the end of the match when they've been beat up. All the adrenaline's gone, their endurance is low. Once you get one of those finisher ins, that looks like something to me that's pin worthy.
And now they got that Kevin Owens and Randy Orton match was going to happen.
Randy Orton, he's the one that said he want Bad Bunny.
Yeah, and Kevin Owens got hurt, so now they're speculating that the guy that plays the general manager on Raw is going to be his opponent. Nick, what's his name?
The tattoo dude.
The guy with the British voice with the suits, that he's like the general manager. Nick Aldis, that's his name. Yeah. He plays like the GM. Okay. And Randy Orton RKO'd him the last show, so they're speculating that he's gonna end up wrestling him because he was a champion in TNA, matter of fact, back in the day. He's actually one of those wrestlers that a lot of people always question why he was never on WWE and had a run like as a wrestler, because he's kind of like Drew McIntyre, big dude, swole, good talker, good in the ring. So it just never really made sense why he didn't get that look. You know what I mean? But What entrances are you looking forward to the most for WrestleMania? Because they always go all out with the entrances. Like, what do you expect?
Cody Rhodes has been nailing those entrances. Like, if they have that big screen and the fits, he's been coming out with these crazy masks, the music playing the crazy fits. It's like so energetic. It brings me back to like Macho Man entrances because it's like, it's more
the pageantry.
Yes, thank you. The pageantry. Ric Flair, like it's not just coming out, being mean mugging, throwing water in your face, yelling at the camera. It's more like
he's definitely old school in that way where he pays attention to those kind of details. You
can tell.
Yo, one of the things I'm kind of looking forward to seeing is Living Color that does CM Punk's intro song, the Cult of Personality one. Yeah. They ended up moving some stuff around, and they're actually going to be in Vegas Friday performing.
Ooh,
and a lot of people are speculating that they're going to perform for his entrance.
Yeah, Rhea did that at the WrestleMania. She had the band that does her entrance song come out and perform.
I don't remember if they did it at Mania or another show, but Living Color has performed the song for CM Punk before. It might have even been in AEW. I'm not even sure. Yeah. But I know they've done it before, but it'll be dope to see it on this stage, you know what I mean? Especially a big WrestleMania like that in Vegas.
How you feel about Jey Uso entrance?
The
yeet.
It's a kid thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's people not for me.
People say, like, his entrance is better than his wrestling.
I honestly, man, I think people just don't like the idea of a guy that was in a tag team being a world championship contender. Especially with having a brother, like a twin brother.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Like, where you're so associated with that. I think they're just trying to pick any hole they can in his game to kind of invalidate him. But it's like, one of the things to me is like, and I'm not comparing them at all, like, in the sense of like their star power or whatever, but he reminds me of John Cena, bro. Like, there was a long time where I didn't like John Cena, but it's because it wasn't for me, bro.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
His whole act was for the kids.
Yeah.
Same thing with Jey Uso, bro. We grown men. We not gonna be out there like,
but there are grown men out there yeeting.
Hey, bro. That's one of them things. That's one of them reasons why I don't even like going to wrestling shows nowadays, man. Them fans be cringe-worthy. But I wonder if now with the new changes, if that's changed at all. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I feel like back in the day, you would go to a wrestling event, it was like a cool vibe. It was almost like you was going out on a Friday or something. Yeah. Now it's like a very nerdy thing when you go. You know what I mean? It's not the same thing.
You don't really tell nobody you were there.
Yeah, facts. You tell them after the fact, like, I popped out over there, you know. But yeah, man, I am excited to watch that WrestleMania this weekend. Definitely have it on while I'm chilling at the crib. I'm always excited to, like you said, it's going to be the change in direction and whatever the storylines are going to be and stuff. So I always tap in around this time because at least you know something exciting is happening. A lot of times they're just kind of maintaining the show throughout the year. But whenever it comes up to those big pay-per-views, that's when you know stuff is going to get real.
And like they have, like I said, there's the second year from the first year without Vince. They got all the feedback from the fans and the storyline, so they have to turn it up. And you know, Raw's been on Netflix since then. Like, a lot of stuff has continuously changed in the wrestling entertainment world that I feel they're gonna have to adapt to and keep adapting to in order to keep this success and this kind of rise to like a top entertainment company.
Yeah, and to kind of wrap up just the sporting events and stuff like that, there's only really one more thing that we have to talk about now that the NBA playoffs are set. Playing is done. I just wanted to double check. They're all the playing games are done.
That's our Orlando Magic. Play the song. Orlando Magic snuck in as a 7th seed.
Yeah, facts, man. I heard Bill Simmons talking about that too, and he was saying that his dad was a little worried about that matchup. He said the Magic usually play the Celtics pretty good, and it's one of those things where it's like if they would have played the Hawks, it would have been kind of like a little easy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they might come out of this Magic season Magic series a little banged up.
Yeah,
the Magic ain't no joke. They got a lot of young, hungry players. They got a lot of talent on that team.
Yeah. Now between Pablo and Franz, they got a squad, man. They got a squad there. They hustle. I'm not a huge Magic fan. I've been 100 at the games, all versus the Knicks, mostly. But it's always, I've never been a fan of the fair weather Magic fans. Like, I don't see anybody post about the Magic unless they win.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I know a few diehard Magic fans that always
I know
been locked in.
My man Gary, one of them. But there's a lot of fair weather ones out there. Like, I've never seen you post about the Magic in your whole life, and now you're posting about the Magic.
Yeah, the upsets I can see the most. We got the Cavs are either gonna face the Hawks, Bulls, or the Heat. They waxing whoever they face in that
Cavs
series. Celtics facing the Magic. I don't see an upset happening there with the Magic without Suggs, I believe.
Yeah.
You got the Knicks versus the Pistons. That could get interesting, dog. The Pistons got a squad on them, man, and they got size. That's the part that's a little scary. And they got that Isaiah Stewart dude, bro. That New York Smash Mouth thing is not gonna work against the Pistons, bro. I'm expecting a fight in this series, like a literal fight. Like I'm seeing something gonna break out because this is gonna be a physical one.
I think Cat gonna go off this series.
You got Pacers Bucks. It's interesting because from what I understand, Damian Lillard is not officially ruled out completely.
No.
So I think the best chance is if the Bucks beat the Pacers and they reevaluate Lillard. He might come back, but without Lillard, man, they don't got Middleton because they traded him.
Yeah, do you think this is Giannis last year?
Could be, man. They have a pretty decent squad that I could see him staying just from the point of view of, like, if they give him good money, it's like, bro, we've won here. I know we can win here. Mm-hmm. You got Lillard. You got Kuzma, who's not amazing, but he's a great asset as a young player that can give you buckets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens there. I'm not expecting much out of the Bucks or the Pacers, though. And then in the West, you got the Thunder either facing the Grizzlies, Kings, or Mavericks, which I'm not worried about any of those teams against the Thunder, especially in the state that all those three teams are in. You got the Rockets versus the Warriors, which I believe the Warriors are the favorites, which is weird. I honestly see the Rockets taking that series, man. Like, I just feel like the Warriors need another year with Jimmy and restructure the roster a little bit. They kind of made last-minute moves to even be relevant. Yep. They weren't even relevant until they got Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, for sure.
They've had a great record since. I think
that was a great move.
Yeah, I think they only lost 2 or 3 games since they got him.
I think a lot of fans were upset at first, and now they're realizing how good of a move that was.
Yeah, I'm more looking at the Warriors next year. This year, I'm not worried.
Yep.
Lakers, Timberwolves, man, that's interesting, bro. That's super interesting because I honestly could see either one of those teams winning the title. My gut tells me Lakers. You got Randall on the Timberwolves, which has always been a question mark for me.
Timberwolves, cabin in the woods, boys in the hoods, Lakers in 5.
Lakers in 5. I can see them taking it in 5 too, which is the crazy part. You got Nuggets, Clippers. Which I don't see much out of the Nuggets. I just feel like their team has just not shown much this year to tell me that they're ready to win another title. Jokic is playing out of his mind like normal. But, he just don't got the help that he used to have. The Clippers are clicking.
They're clicking out the run. Yeah, the
Clippers are clicking at the right time. Talking about a team that got James Harden playing some of the best basketball he has in the last few years. Kawhi for sure because he's been healthy that he hasn't been healthy before. Something that people are underestimating, I feel like, which I don't know if he's injured right now or not, or if he's even going to be a factor. Let me just double check that real quick, man. But Ben Simmons, man, people like to clown him and talk about him like he's super trash. You know what I'm saying? But you're talking about a dude that has some decent size. This year, he's averaging 5 points, 4.7 rebounds, 5.6 assists, on 52% shooting. He's not taking a lot of shots, and most of his shots are just going to be gimme shots. But, bro, he's on a team with Kawhi and James Harden, bro. Like, you don't need it.
I don't have faith on the next LeBron, according to Bill Coward.
Colin Coward, he was insane for that one.
LeBron, we're all good, bro. We're good. You can go.
Insane, bro.
We have Bill Simmons.
Yo, this guy... I'm not saying he's going to be anything as far as like a factor, but you're talking about a guy that was a centerpiece of a franchise and now you got him as a wild card rotation player.
That's not bad.
I mean...
He comes off the bench?
He comes off the bench. I mean, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But like I said, bro, somebody that was the centerpiece of playoff perennial teams that made pushes, and now he's on your bench, finally healthy, and he's somebody that can help your second unit, bro. I feel like he's somebody that can be, effective, and they're kind of like writing him off just because, his history, which is rightfully so. Yeah. But at the same time, dog, like, you can't act like this dude is booty, you know what I'm saying? Like, just straight booty. And he is available, so we'll see if he's a factor. The playoffs are going to be fun, man. There's a lot of dope matchups.
Yeah, I'm ready for them.
It's a season that...
Starts this weekend?
Yeah, it's a season that they talked about from the point of view of saying it was going to be trash. I thought so. The interest was going down. Yeah, the way the teams were was trash. But, I mean... Luka goes to the Lakers, dog, and then it's just like a whole free for all after that, and all of a sudden we mad interested. You know what I mean?
That's how it is.
But the last thing I wanted to say about that is Bill Simmons was talking about that with not Tony Khan, with Nick Khan. Bill Simmons was talking about the fact that the NBA is going to start to need to start thinking about adjusting some things with their season, some of the rules and stuff, kind of like what baseball did, because they were saying the worst thing baseball did in the 70s was say we the top sport, that's it.
Yeah. And then
you know what I'm saying? And then look what happened. The NFL's always been making changes. Even when they're at the height of their popularity, they're making changes. NBA needs to go that way too, man, because even as a diehard NBA fan, bro, it's been tough to watch the regular season, dog.
It's not as enjoyable.
Yeah, man. But I hope this episode comes out dope. I definitely like the layout and the vibes.
There'll be many more of these for sure.
Yeah, facts. We're going to be taking it on the road now that we got this little setup. So tap in, y'all. Stay butter.
Stay butter.